The IRS tax form that I went to and I had a booth with that I paid a lot of money for, not worth it. Let's go over my experience with the whole having a booth at the IRS tax form because there's a lot to get into. Let's start. And before I give you the tea, my name is Fook Lee. I'm an enrolled agent with 20 years worth of experience. I built, grew, and sold my 7-figure firm. Now I'm just taking all my experience and knowledge and sharing it with other tax professionals in a mentorship program called Level Up Quest. After all, I've never done a convention, never had a booth before, so this was all new to me. But the main thing why I wanted to do this convention was because I wanted to be in front of tax professionals. I tried doing the whole online ad stuff and yeah, it got some interest here and there, but I wasn't really able to talk my story. It was just whatever ad I produced and I threw it out there. But I really wanted to talk to other tax professionals, pretty much get their reaction of what they think of what I was offering with the mentorship program, and just having a dialogue about what I could do to help them out and share my story, listen to their story. So I started looking into different conventions. There's Intuit and an IRS tax form. And I just decided to go with IRS tax form because it was around a date that I thought I could make it. And I decided just to look into it. And when I started looking into it, it was damn expensive. I was like kind of sticker shock of how much having a booth actually costs. I'm just surprised that, this venue probably has like 30 to 40 booths to give out, and people are actually paying this much for the booth. So of course, the first thing I need to do is justify the cost. Okay, how much is this all going to cost and is it going to be worth it? And for me, because it was either spend $5,400 on ads maybe, or $5,400 on this booth and trying it out for the first time, I decided, let me just spend the money on the booth. Let's see how it goes, because you never know. I might find some really great people. I'll definitely be in front of the right crowd because my crowd was tax professionals. So let's see how it goes. And that was kind of my mindset. And that's how I justified it, because you never know. If you don't try it, you'll never know. Was there anything that surprised me? My biggest surprise with this whole convention thing is one, the costs, because it was $3,400 to have the booth. And that's just like the early bird pricing. And then there's a lot of upselling by the IRS in the tax form. So I wasn't familiar with that. I didn't know you had to pay for all these separate things like electricity. If you wanted to run an outlet at your booth so you could have like a TV or something to charge, that's like an extra $300. And then internet, if you needed to have access to the internet, the Wi-Fi, they charge extra for that. And I believe there were like 2 different speeds. There was like the low speed one where I guess if you're just there to collect emails and just basic websites, but if you're there to play videos, then there's another speed that you're supposed to get that allows you to play like videos. And then the lead capture thing. So they offered this unit, I guess like a scanner, where you could scan the person's badge and that will be your lead. So once you scan it, it provides the name, probably the email address, and maybe their title and company name. But that was like $400 or $500, and I didn't really want to pay for that because I just thought, hey, why don't just have a QR code? It's way easier. So I decided to forego the electricity, forego the internet, and forego the lead capture thingy, right? For the electricity, I ended up buying a kind of like a really big outdoor battery, or like a camping battery, for like $300 on Amazon instead. So I'd rather have that because at least I get to keep the battery as opposed to just buying some kind of outlet that I don't get to keep. And then the internet, I didn't think I needed internet because I thought people would have their phone on them and they would just be able to scan the QR code. But I got lucky because the booth next to me ordered internet, and I was able to see their little Wi-Fi password thing. So I kind of took the internet from that. So they didn't share with me. I actually just saw it on their table, and I just scanned the QR code real quick just to get that internet connection. Yeah, but that's probably the biggest issues that I had with the convention itself was just the upselling. It's like, it felt just like there's a lot of upselling. There's like all these other things I didn't even mention it. Like, to give like the bags for all the attendees. Well, you could add a flyer inside that bag for like an extra $1,000. So every little bag will get a flyer of your business. If you wanted to hand out, I don't know, I think you could put your logo on like the hotel key cards or something like that. There was like a lot of things that they're upselling. So kind of crazy. Now, the main goal for the IRS tax form, I didn't just go in there saying I want to talk to as many people. My goal was to collect as many emails as possible, which turned out to be quite a challenge because I didn't have that scanner thing and we were manually entering it in because for some reason people didn't want to pull out their phone to scan the QR code and enter it in. And I could see why, because there's a lot of friction with that of pulling out your phone, scanning it, typing in your name and email address. But even when we offered to do it for them, I pulled out my own phone and I entered in the information. The autocorrect was just too crazy because it's getting, I'm pretty sure we got a few wrong email addresses because of the autocorrect, the pressure of trying to get it done correctly because they are just saying their emails out loud. And sometimes their emails are a little complicated with numbers and random letters. But that main goal for this forum, and I think for most people, going to like having a booth would be to just get leads, right? You want to, because remember, when you're at these booths, you don't have that much time to talk to each person. It's very limited. So your main thing is introduce what you do, maybe answer a couple questions, learn what they're looking for, but also to get that email address or contact information. The booth next to me, actually, which was Anchor, they didn't do the scanning thing either, but instead they were setting up appointments in the booth themselves. So when they got a potential person interested in that product, they would actually go there and set an appointment to talk, to do a demo call right away. So it's not just getting emails. They got emails, phone numbers, and an appointment, which is pretty impressive. I'd never done a convention before, so before going to the convention, I was really worried about how do I get people interested in my booth? How do I get people to come to my booth? So, of course, we had to offer freebies because everyone there was offering some kind of freebie, at least candy, if anything. So I wanted to do something different, not just pens and notebooks, which we ended up doing notebooks anyways. I really liked the mug idea. So I wanted to do something different. So I thought the mug was very different. And the reason why I was really set on providing free things is because I went to a food convention about a month earlier, and the booths that had no one waiting around in line or had no one in front of their booths are the ones that didn't give out free samples. So the booths that gave out free samples, of course, had way more people, and at least they were able to talk to the people while they're waiting in line or something. So I really didn't want an empty booth where people weren't coming up. I needed to spark some kind of interest. And of course, I had first day jitters. It's pretty, you just never know what's going to happen, how you're going to talk to people, since it's my first time really talking to people at that capacity. So I really was feeling the first day jitters. The night before, I remember I practiced my 10-second pitch, which is super important because you literally only have 10 seconds to talk to someone. So you have 10 seconds to say what you're doing, make it interesting, and then maybe answer some questions. But most people in the hall, they are just coming and going really quick. They're just either walking by, they're ready to go to their next thing. Maybe they're just looking for free stuff. You never know, but you don't have that much time to engage with them. And I think one of the biggest problems I had was that I spent the whole 10 seconds talking about level up quests and not asking them questions about what their pain points are, what they need help on, what they're struggling with. I mainly just talked about level up quests, and that was my whole 10 seconds. So I think if I was to give any advice to anyone looking to do a booth, is that try to bring your pitch down to maybe 5 to 6 seconds when it comes talking about what you offer, which is going to be really hard, but also spend the next 4 to 5 seconds getting to know more about that person, figuring out their pain points, because I think that would really help drive the conversation and make you more memorable, because you really don't want to just feel what you're selling because it just kind of goes in one ear and out the other pretty quickly. I should have asked them more questions of what they're feeling. Is this something that they're struggling with? How can mentorship really be an asset to them? If they even started doing tax strategies, or are they doing tax preparation? So definitely, I should have practiced that more. But on the first day, I think the first hour, it took me a while just to get used to just making sure I walked up to people and presented myself, and just getting out of my comfort zone to talk to people, because most people who walk by, they're not going to make eye contact with you. They might read your signs, but really they don't want to be sold on anything, which I understand. The biggest problem I had was not with myself, but with the booth across from me. They were selling like massage guns, which I thought was interesting, because I'm like, why would you sell massage guns at a tax forum place? And then it hit me like, oh, well, because they're targeting stressed out tax people that need massages. So they were very salesy and very aggressive, because anytime an attendee just kind of came around the area, they would pretty much get their attention right away. Like, their voice projected out so well. Their sales techniques was very good at getting people's attention, because they would just be like, there you are, you ready for your free massage? Or they would read the badge, and they're very good at this. They'll be like, hey, Nancy, let's try this massage out. I think you're stressed out, right? So, and they said it in such a loud voice where and this is what I had a problem with. And I think that there should be some kind of booth etiquette here, convention etiquette amongst all the booth people, is that if I have an attendee reading my sign, the attendee's back is facing the booth across from me, the massage gun people. If that attendee is reading my sign and is showing some kind of interest in my booth, they shouldn't be calling her out. They shouldn't be calling him or her out and saying, hey, turn around and look at what we're doing, right? Which was what the massage gun people were doing, because I wasn't even able to talk to that person that showed a little bit of interest in my sign, because she had to turn around due to their sales techniques and their voice projection. And when she wasn't interested, she walked away, because she just wanted to get out of there. So I had no chance whatsoever to talk to her and introduce Level Up Quest. Even though she showed that little bit of interest, I think it would have been important that I was able to talk to her. So that was annoying, because I felt like I was fighting for the attendees' attention as they walked by. The problem is that because they were somewhat aggressive, before the attendees even walked in front of our area, they already started trying to get their attention, and that person knew it was salesy. And you could see there's massage guns, because other people are getting massages with their gun, and maybe they don't want a massage at that time, so they're just in a rush to walk by both booths just to get away from them. So I feel like that's my lost opportunity as well to talk about Level Up Quest, all because of the booth across from me being highly aggressive, and just no etiquette, because pretty much anyone in the vicinity, they're going to try to latch on. It doesn't matter if the person is already talking to someone else or is looking at my booth, showing interest in my booth. They didn't care. They're just going to latch on, try to get as much attention over to their booth as much as possible. Now, one other problem I had was the way the venue was set up. First, when I first got there, I registered, and then to get to the part where all the booths are, we had to walk all the way to the back. So we walked through like 2 long hallways to get to the exhibitor part. And along the way, I was passing by all the different seminar rooms. So I could see all the seminar rooms. I'm passing all of them by. At the very end would be the exhibitor hall. And I didn't like that setup, because for anyone to go to that exhibitor hall, they would have to intentionally go there. It wasn't really like a funnel where they happen to go through it and then they have to go to their courses. So I could see why it was set up that way, because maybe it could be a venue issue, but also I could see why they probably didn't want to funnel people through the exhibitor hall, because it is salesy. There are a lot of salespeople, and maybe they didn't want their attendees to feel that they're always being sold to. They just wanted to go get their courses, get their lessons in, and that's it. But the setup itself, I thought wasn't beneficial to the booths, the vendors at the booths. The other thing is the way the IRS set up all the courses and seminars is that they would have like really big courses and seminars. I think the first thing in the morning, and then there'll be a break at 11. So from 11 to 2 were really big waves of people, maybe 11 to 1, because there were no courses at that time, and maybe because it's lunchtime. So they let everyone out of all the seminars, and then we just get hit with a big wave. So, it was kind of dead, and then all of a sudden the big wave happened, and it was just nonstop talking for me. So many people were walking by. I was constantly talking and being pulled to talk to this person and that person. Luckily, I had my wife there that helped keep some people to stay a little bit longer because they were interested in learning more. Because if I had to do that big wave myself, I would have been so stressed out. So that was the first wave, and then at 2 o'clock were more big seminars that they had. So then from pretty much 2 to 4:30, it was dead. Like there barely anyone walking by. I saw other booths just pretty much get up and leave. Like they just left their booth empty. They went out to take a break or lunch, and they came back around 3 to 4 o'clock, because the next wave was 4:30, and that's, I guess, when the next batch of seminars just gets released. So all of a sudden and what they did was that they offered like a happy hour inside the exhibitor hall. So there was like cheese and celery and drinks inside that, which was fine. It got people to come back, but people came back mainly for the food. But it was another big wave, which luckily there was a line right in front of us to get to the celery and the fruits and stuff. So I was able to pass out some flyers while people were waiting in line, talk about Level Up Quest. So that was good. But then it was, I think 6 o'clock was a close time or something like that. So then after everyone got their food and drinks, they all left, and then that was the end of day 1. So my first day feelings that I have after the first day itself, I definitely knew that, okay, having my wife there was definitely a big help, because she helped manage some of the extra people coming by while I was talking to one person. She was able to kind of hold a conversation with another person waiting for me to finish, and then I could go over and talk to them. But it did seem rushed. My pitch during the rush, you're just talking so fast, and I happened to talk way too fast without trying to learn more about the people, like I said. So I think I would improve that. The other thing is you should just have another person, because what if you want to go on a break like lunch or bathroom breaks? And definitely you need to have thick skin. Like I needed to emotionally prep myself, because there were going to be people say I say simple hi to, and they're just going to completely ignore me. They're just going to walk by. Or I might say, hey, would you like to learn more? And they're going to be like, no, not interested. Just straight up say, I don't want to know what you do. So you definitely need to have thick skin and get out of your comfort zone with this. So 18 Block was the other booth right next to me, and they were more chill and relaxed. They actually just sat at the table and they waited for people to come to them, because maybe they're a big name and they were not really aggressive. While Anchor, the booth next to me, they were standing in front of their tables. They were trying to make eye contact. They're really engaging with people, which was good. And then, of course, you had the booth that's across from me that was super aggressive. Everyone was out there just to get something, right? So, but in general, I guess there are 2 different ways of how you could handle the booth. You could either be in front of the booth and be more proactive in trying to make eye contact with people, shake people's hands. Or what I did actually on the second day was I just sat behind a table and just made it more chill, because as I go in later, the second day was pretty dead. The other thing was, how did I bring people into my booth? Of course, I was competing with the booth across from me, but how did I get people interested in seeing more of my booth? And at first I would just say hi, and was really shy and kind of awkward. But then I learned that, hey, you know what? I should offer something to get them interested. So instead of just a hi and do you need mentorship? I would be like, hi, would you like a free visual? And I hand them the actual visual. And I think that was a good way of getting people interested, because people are like, what? A visual? Or actually said tax visual. And they were like, what's that? So then I showed them exactly what the tax visual is, how I would use it, and what Level Up Quest did in terms of mentorship, e-learning courses, and everything that we do for our members. So that's something I would definitely recommend you to do if you do have a booth, is find that hook, right? You can't just say hi and expect people to be interested in what you're doing. You got to find that hook that will get people interested or wondering, what is that? So mine was, hey, would you like a free tax visual? And I showed them the tax visual. They look at it. It's very colorful. And that's what gained them interest, right? Even though they're not interested in mentorship in general, at least they were interested in, what is a tax visual? So that was kind of my hook when it came to getting people interested. The next thing is bring your hook down to 6 seconds and leave 4 seconds to just pretty much ask, what are your pain points, or what is it that you're struggling with? And hopefully that will lead into a more better conversation, of rather than just me saying, hey, we're Level Up Quest. We are a mentorship program helping tax preparers move from low value tax prep work to high value tax advisory work. That was pretty much my spiel, right? But I wish I would have asked more questions about them as a firm owner or as a tax professional. And after the first day, we gave away some free stuff. So we had mugs, which was one of the grand prize. We had notebooks, and we had these, like, a packet of sticky notes. And candy. Surprisingly, people wanted the notebooks and sticky notes more than the mugs. I thought the mugs were awesome. I thought that was a great idea. Maybe because they just saw it as a cup, but they didn't really read what was on it. Like, hey, my fees are tax deductible, which I thought was hilarious. But maybe others didn't read it, or a couple other people, when I offered them a mug, they're like, oh, I don't want to take it home, because maybe they didn't want to figure out how to pack it because it might break. So most people actually wanted notebooks and sticky pads over the mug, which is ironic because the mug was the more expensive item that I paid for to get it done, while sticky pads and the notebook was like, I don't know, $1.75 at Daiso. But what was really nice was that one person that was a follower wanted a mug, and she wrote in one of my videos that she's going to be there and she would like a mug. So I saved one for her, which was perfect. She came by, she said hi, and she later wrote again saying that the mug was like the best thing at the IRS forum. So I was really happy about that. So really, really like that. At least someone got my humor. So what was the result after day one? The result was that I got 68 emails, which is okay. I was actually, for some reason, thinking like 200, but we got 68 emails, which actually is not okay. It's bad. It's bad. I should have gone to scanner. Thing would have been way easier. What I thought was interesting was that other people that had other booths that have been doing this for a while, they said there are other conventions that just provide an email list of everyone that attended, like one big list that everyone got, which I thought would have been easier, but I guess I could understand from an attendee's point of view. I don't want my emails out there just to be sold, where I'm going to get 80 different vendors reaching out to me because they had access to my email. So I could see why they didn't do that. But it would have been easier if like they had like an opt-in or opt-out process when it came to providing emails at address, or maybe they just wanted to upsell people on that scanner thingy. But 68 emails was horrible, was not a lot, because it was so manual. My goal was 200. So now the second day, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to fight with the booth across from me. They could yell and scream to all the different people walking by as much as they want. I'm just going to go H&R Block style, like the booth next to me, and just sit at the table and let people approach me, which, and I didn't collect emails that day either. So it's just people approaching me. I just had a real conversation with them on people that were really interested in what Level Up Quest was doing. So I felt day two, the quality of the conversations was good, while day one was more of the quantity of just getting talking to as many people, collecting as many emails, address, and that's really it. Trying to get through as fast as possible. Because I didn't collect emails that day, that the people I did talk to, I had a connection with, and they did take some of the flyers and stuff and had my contact information on there. So I'm hoping that they would later reach out to me, probably after the extension deadline, to see if it's something that I could help them with. So that was my goal, but in general, day 2 is dead. There weren't that many people at all. I think everyone already came through day 1 and got all the free stuff that they wanted. The other thing about day 2, it was not a full day. It was only a half day, which I guess makes sense because they knew that people weren't going to come in again. I would say that for day 2, what stood out the most was that I actually had a couple people that saw me on day 1 and talked to me, and they wanted to introduce their friends or colleagues or coworkers to me on day 2. So they came back and introduced their family members or coworkers to me. So I was able to have a real conversations with the people that were introduced to me. And I really thought that was really cool. The fact that someone remembered me on day 1 and was like, hey, I think my colleague could use this or might be able to benefit from this. So my final thoughts, would I do the IRS form again? San Diego, definitely not. From talking to the other people, the other vendors next to me, they said that Orlando was really crowded and Baltimore was really crowded, which was interesting because Baltimore was the week before, which happens to be the week of the S Corp and partnership extension deadline. So they actually had the whole seminar in that same week of the deadline date, which I actually thought that was a bad idea and that there weren't going to be people going because of that deadline. But turns out they said that Baltimore had more people than San Diego, which San Diego was just dead. Like they just thought San Diego had no one walking by. Even during the dead times, you still have people walking by in Baltimore. There's still people walking through the exhibit hall in Baltimore and in Orlando. While in San Diego, no one's walking by. Do I think it helped my business? It's too soon to say, but as of 1 week after me leaving the convention, I have not gotten any signups or real conversations afterwards with anyone yet. I am using the excuse that it's October 15th deadline coming up, so that's why they're not contacting me. I did set up a email funnel where I added all the emails I collected and put it into the funnel to follow up with, just say, hey, remember me? And then just one email before deadline. And then I have another email like 3 or 4 days automated that's going to be sent out to them after the deadline. Hopefully that's a great time for them to talk to me after everything's calmed down for them. So it's too early to say, but as of right now, am I going to collect $5,400 worth of membership from this one convention to cover the cost? I don't think so. I definitely thought I lost money on this one. So when you're talking about ROIs and if the investment was worth it, money-wise, it's not worth it. It costs too much, and I don't think I got enough signups, or I will get enough signups to cover remotely close to that cost. So maybe if you have like a very big ticket item, I mean, I was only introducing this as $99 a month. So it's not really a big ticket item, but maybe if you just had one sign up that was a $6,000 sign up and you offered something like that, then it might be worth it because you only need one sign up. But for me, I'm going to need a lot of people to sign up to break even on this. Now, some feedback that I have for the IRS forum people. The first thing is the exhibit hall location was crap inside for the San Diego one, at least. I thought it was very bad for the vendors. It just didn't have like anything that would get people to go in there. Like it didn't have any reasons for people to go in there except to look at the exhibitors. And maybe that happy hour thing, I guess, was a good idea because they got people in. But I think they definitely should have done more inside that exhibit area, because it maybe like a meet and greet or some kind of networking thing or demos there, something that will get more people to go into that exhibit hall, not just to try to find free things or talk to salespeople, but something that involves an activity to get people there. I think another big problem was controlling the crowd. How do you avoid these, two waves of big groups of people is actually a lot to handle. If they could somehow figure out how to get a steady stream of people to come in where it's not so hectic in that, a short period of time, and then it becomes completely dead and then it's hectic again, figure out a way to get a stream of people to go through the exhibit hall. Maybe instead of having the exhibit hall all the way in the back, like somehow figure out to use that as a funnel to get people into the courses, but where they have to go through the exhibit hall. But the exhibit hall has to be more exciting. They didn't make it exciting at all. It was pretty much just salespeople. Who would want to walk into a shark infested room of just salespeople, right? So that's where I think if they made the exhibit hall less salesy and figure out how to do it where it would be fun and entertaining to go there, then that would have been a lot better for the exhibitors, or I guess the vendors that had booths, and then also for the attendees too, because now it's going to be more fun. It's not just plain boring, just seminars all day. So that's my spiel for the IRS convention. If I do another one, I would do it in either Orlando or somewhere on the East Coast where there's going to be more people. Maybe Orlando, because I heard that's super poppin'. There's a lot of people there. So that's what I think I would do if I were to do it again next year, which I probably won't.